Hey, good evening, everybody, and good evening, especially to the single Pringles who are with us in the group in the session tonight. If you are single Pringle, this topic is very very important to you. If you are in love, this topic is very important to you. If you don't have a boo or if you don't have a bay, this topic is very important to you. And if you are boolless on any angle, just go and call your fellow friends and people who are boolless and bayless like you. Let them come because this session is going to be amazing. Tag your friends, share right now, right now. You can see the share button under the screen. The screen that you're seeing, there's a share button there, wherever you're tuning in from, LinkedIn, on YouTube or Facebook, just tap the share button and go invite your friends. Tag them to come to be part of this live stream right now. And we are going to be delving so deeply into the money side of love. How does money affect relationships and marriage? And this evening, as always, as usual, she's the bomb, and there's no other person that is more qualified to teach on this topic how money affects relationships and marriages. I have with me today, this evening, my great friend. I can call her my friend. I can call her my amazing financial advisor. She's here with me right now on this live stream. Welcome, ma.
Thank you very much, America. Good evening, everyone. And it's such a pleasure to be here again.
Every time that we are going live stream, I'm in the office, she's at home, she has gone to take her bath, and she's fining up, and she's looking more
Okay.
beautiful than ever. And I'm
Yes,
going
I
to
know.
retaliate today. I'm going to retaliate one day. I'm going to go back home and I will do makeup and I'll be fine. Welcome, Mike. Good to have you again on this live
Same
stream.
here.
Look forward to having a very fantastic conversation with you. So, guys, if you're tuning in right now, let's know where you're tuning in from. Drop your name in the comment section and go share. Tap the share button and um, let us have as many individuals join us on this all important conversation tonight. Okay. All right, man. As we for us to just go ahead, just give us your this is an intro. Introduce yourself. Let's know who you are exhaustively. So we individuals who are tuning in, we know that you are really the top dog in this area of finances. Go ahead, man.
Thank you so much again, once again. Thanks, America. Thanks, everyone who has decided to join us on the live or on the replay. My name is Tobore Olumoye. I am your personal finance coach. What do I do? How do I help you become better with your money? I offer personal finance advisory services, which means I help individuals set up their financial plans. What does this again mean? Especially for those of us in Nigeria and in the other part of Africa, apart from South Africa. Your financial plan is a document that shows the path to your personal financial freedom. It's a document that shows how you will achieve your personal financial goals. So it covers everything. For a lot of people, they only think, when they think personal finance, they only think savings, investment, diversification of portfolio. But your personal finance is a whole lot more than that. And it is because all the boxes are not ticked. That's why a lot of people struggle with their personal finances. So if you want to stop struggling, I am your go-to person. Why should you trust me? I have been in this business for about 20 years now. I was in the banking space for about 16 years. Then I quit my job to do what I am doing now. When I realized that I couldn't offer this solution the way I wanted to as a staff of a bank. I needed to step out, I needed to do more, I needed to push more because my people are steadily perishing for lack of knowledge. They simply do not know. And that's why they are not doing as well as they should. So that's why I do what I do. In terms of what I did while I was in the university, I studied chemical engineering. So I have actually have a degree that says I'm a chemical engineer. But in terms of what I am passionate about, I am absolutely passionate about personal finance. I am tired of the black race being behind when it comes to finance. I am tired of non generational wealth. I am tired of Africans making a lot of money and the money is not going to the next generation and to the fourth generation. I am just tired of it. And that's what drives me. That's why I do what I do. Again, it's such a pleasure to be here. And I do hope that we will touch on one aspect of personal finance tonight as Emeka graciously hosts me. Thank you, Emeka. And I say welcome once again to everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. It's always a pleasure to listen to your beautiful voice, always spreading the gospel of financial management and financial planning. Okay, so guys, as you are here right now on the live stream, please, as usual, tap the share button. I always check the number of individuals who are on the live stream and the number of shares that the live stream has gotten. And it's not nice that you're on the live stream and then we say share and you're not sharing. The importance of sharing is that we spread this to as many individuals as possible because the more prosperous the society becomes, the better for us all. If everybody who is around us is prospering, that means nobody will be thinking of breaking into another person's apartment or stealing from someone or planning to go into the night and blow some powder. It's important that you share. Okay. So thank you, Buchi. Thank you, Steli. Thank you, Stanley. Thank you, Titilayo. Thank you, all of you who have tuned in into the live session. Please tag your friends. You have friends, people that you want their well-being, all right, to be better. Tag them in the comment section. Tag them. Let them come be part of this live session tonight. Okay, let's jump into it. Smart. Why did you decide to write a book? Why did you decide to write books? You've written books, and I have your latest copy, your latest book here, The Money Side of Love: How Money Affects Relationship and Marriages. Fantastic book. I have mine. Even though I'm married, I still need this book. Okay, so The Money Side of Love: How does money affect our relationships and our marriages? Okay, Ma, I'll ask you, why did you decide to start writing?
So, Rebecca, are
I
you there
mean,
with
you
me?
went to
Okay.
bank, you've got money,
Mhm.
decide to start. Yeah, go ahead. Why did you decide? Why did you decide to start writing, ma? Go ahead.
I'm not sure I decided to write. I think writing decided to adopt me. I'm an accidental writer. I say to people all the time, I'm a speaker. People know me to be a talker. I speak, I train for a living. That's what I do. That's what I'm passionate about. But during COVID, again, I'm not a writer. I don't, if you know me very well, for those who have me in their contact list, I'm sure you can count the number of times I've actually typed a chat to you. I'd rather call or drop a voice note. But during COVID, I ran a couple of training sessions and I got quite some feedback. And one of them was a very harsh feedback. And the gentleman said to me, Tobore, may I have your books? And I said, oh, no, sir, I don't write. I'm not a writer. I don't have the skill of writing. And he said, what nonsense are you saying? You should have books. What you have just trained us on is a book on its own. And I said, oh, well, people say that, but I'm not sure I can write. Then I have a couple of friends. And again, this buttresses the fact that you should surround yourself with people who challenge you, people who want you to get better or who get irritated with your stagnant pace in life. And one of them said to me, Tobore, by March, if by March you do not launch your book, and by the way, this was in December, he said, if by March I do not get an invitation to your book launch, delete my contact from your phone. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to know you. It just tells me that you are not worth knowing. You are not serious. And this person is one of my biggest clients. And I said, it's not that serious now. And he said, I'm very serious. You deserve, the world deserves to hear what you have to say. The message is extremely important. You are depriving. He went on and on. Now, I decided to write not because I believed I had it in me to write, but because I didn't want to lose that customer. And then I challenged myself. I reached out to a couple of people, and then I got all of the support I needed. And guess what, Emeka? When March came around, I didn't launch one book. I launched two books in one, and both of them sold out almost immediately. That was how I started writing. So the first books I wrote, in fact, the one I wanted to write ended up being the second book I wrote, Make Better Financial Decisions and From Banker to Business Owner. Those were the first two books I wrote. Then I went ahead to write Make Your Money Make Sense, Coco, The Money Bug, and then now the latest one, which is The Money Side of Love. All of these books address different things. And what you'll find out with financial planning, with personal finance, is that it affects every aspect of your life. It affects your relationship with your parents, affects the number of children you will have, affects your relationship with your pastor. Everything that has to do with life affects your will, your trust, affects your spousal relationships, even affects the relationship you have with God. A lot of people worship God the way they do because they are broke. If they had money, they wouldn't be doing what they are doing today. A lot of people are in churches, a lot of people are in religious houses, beseeching God for money. So you will see that money drives a lot of the things we do. Many relationships break up because of money, many businesses die, many businesses do not survive because of personal finance. So you'll find out that personal finance seems to weave its thread all the way through the fabric of society, and it is so insidious that you will not even know the damage it's causing if you do not pay attention to it. So each of these books addresses a different aspect of personal finance. But this particular one, The Money Side of Love, came up as a result of feedback, as a result of trauma. Emeka, you will not believe the number, because of the nature of what I do. I hear a lot, I see a lot, I'm in a lot of private spaces. M- Because of confidentiality, I can only listen, I cannot speak. A lot of pain is deposited in me as I do my work. A lot of people vent to me, broken hearts, broken homes, broken souls vent to me as their personal finance coach. And behind most of the pain is money. But I've also realized that for a lot of couples who have financial issues as their underlying issue, some of them don't even know that the problem is money. But I know because I sit in that space. For many of them, I've realized that if you were to ask them in 15 years' time, after they have got married, would you have married, knowing what you know today about your spouse, would you have married her 15 years ago? Knowing what you know today about your spouse, would you have married her or him 5 years ago? For many of them, the answer will be no. Many of them will be no. And the reason it will be no also has to do with personal finance. Many people have no idea how to manage money. Some of them change their characters when they are very poor. Some are rich today. When they become broke, they become monsters. Some are poor today and are very nice. When they become rich, they become demons. Same vice versa, men versus women. Children, homes are broken. Many homes are in disarray because personal finance is not well done and not put together. A lot of that feedback. And then one day I was in the bathroom, and this is where I'm going to sound a bit spiritual, even though it cannot be proven. But that's actually how this book came to be written. So I had a lot of all of that going on. I actually have a book I'm going to write. I'll release that book hopefully Q1 next year. That is a book in my mind to write. But I was on the bathroom someday and I was praying to God for inspiration for my book, the real book I want to write for teenagers and young adults. And I got a very strong message in my spirit. Go and write a book on money and love. Go and write it. Go and write that book. And I said, excuse me, please. You know the book I want to write has nothing to do a lot. In fact, I'm not a counselor. I don't that's not the one doing me. Please, can you be focused? Give me inspiration for the one I'm asking for. And I don't know how you deal with the spirit for those of us who are creatives. But for me, the message was very simple: go and write that book. And for each time I prayed for inspiration, the message kept being go and write that book. Emeka chapterization was done. All of this inspiration came for chapterization, for title, for context. It all came together in less than 1 week. This book you see, it was like, go and write this book, as if there was a reason for the book to be pushed out. And so I wrote it so that I could have peace. That's the story behind The Money Side of Love. It covers so many things. And guess what? After I wrote the book, I got about three different messages. A few of them, in fact, four more than three, but three of them were critical. And it was as if it was for those three people that the message was sent. Three of them said, "You have saved my life. I would have made a wrong decision. Thank you for this book." Another one said, one of the three, this particular person now said, "Thank you for this book. I did not know that I am the problem in my home. I did not know. But your book has shown me that I am the problem. I am working on myself and fixing, and I can already begin to see the difference, the changes in my family." Emeka, these kinds of messages are the reason why I have said I'm not going to keep quiet about this book. Everyone who should must read this book. I don't care how you get it, I don't care how the message is passed, but everyone should read it because you never can tell which marriage will be saved, which life will be saved, which home will be repaired just by the message in this book. So, Emeka, that's the background about how I came to write and how I came to write this particular book.
Beautiful, beautiful, guys. I can see your number of shares. The shares are increasing. So if you're watching right now, please still go ahead and share this live stream. Okay. All right, Ma. So let's delve into it. I've got my own copy. I have my own copy, my own best chapter in the book. How money affects marriages and relationships. That is chapter 5. All right, chapter 5, which is on page 23. Yeah, page 23. Let
Okay,
me
chapter
open it.
4. That's chapter 4.
Okay, that's chapter 4. Okay, yes. Chapter 4. How money affects with marriages and relationships. I mean, when I looked at where you wrote about money affects quality of life, money affects quality of children's education, and that's correct. Quality of life. I mean, my family, I spend the minimum of 60,000 naira every week on my family. 60,000 minimum, 60,000 naira. So it means in a month, I spend, if a month is 4 weeks, I'm spending 240,000 naira minimum. So it means that if I'm not earning at minimum, that is just for feeding and every other feeding and just basically feeding. I've not even
Yeah.
talked about fuel expenses. I've not talked about other miscellaneous expenses, things that come up, generator breaks down, I spend money. My children can fall sick, even though they don't fall sick every month. Something can happen, somebody can call. I mean, things can happen. That means on the average, if I don't earn a minimum of 400,000 naira every month to be able to take care of my family, then there is a problem. Tension
That's
will
right.
come up, stress will come up, overwhelm. So, quality of life, quality of children's education, where you send your children to go to school, is critically important. And so, if you
Yeah.
don't have the money to go to send them to a better school, and they come back and they are all dull in the brain, it affects their future. It even affects you because if they're not able to pass their exams, maybe say JAMB, you still spend money to make them
Yeah.
spend exams. You still spend money to bring another teacher to come to teach them specially. Decision making and control, debt management, number of dependents. Oh my God, that's another one in Nigeria. People who are dependent on you, your parents, your cousins, your relations. I mean, quality of relationships and all that. I mean, that's my best chapter in this book. So, but go ahead, tell us about this book. Give us review from chapter
So,
1 to the final chapter. You know,
in fact, because you have talked about chapter 4, let me start with chapter 4. We'll talk about the other part. And Rebecca raised a valid point. So when it comes to the quality of your marriage, and here is why I find it a bit funny when I hear people say, "Oh, love is what matters most. Love one another, love each other. If you love each other, the marriage will be very sweet." And it is absolutely true. However, I like to say to people that one of the biggest frauds I've experienced happens when on your wedding day. I am married. I had a brilliant wedding. I had a beautiful wedding. So the typical things that happen in the Nigerian wedding happened in my wedding. Where we dance, bride and groom will dance. Friends will come. They'll spray you money. They'll bring gifts. Those that like you will buy expensive gifts. Those that don't like you or cannot afford to will give you a handshake. Some will be murmuring. Some will be happy genuinely. All of that going on. But the part that I find somewhat fraudulent is that all those people that will be dancing with you, all those people spraying you money, they will leave you. When you have finished dancing, when it is 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, they will enter their motor and they will go their house. Then they leave you. Not one of them will call you to one corner and say, hey, this marriage that you are entering, babe, have you done your numbers? Do you have a financial plan? Did you sit down with your husband and do these numbers? This dance that you are dancing, this money they are spraying you, it can act as seed. Oh. Are you investing? What are your plans? None of them who is spraying you. Because by the time they are spraying you, they know you have already decided. You have already chosen your husband. You did not call them when you were choosing. You have chosen wife. You people have done wedding. You've gathered them to come and eat rice, meaning that they assume. Assumption made on wedding days is that you have done your homework. Nobody will call you and tell you, oh, come on. They will come and enter the marriage. They'll be dancing. Then later, when you start having challenges, you go to them, they'll say, you don't understand that's so marriage. That's how you be, my sister. You don't enter, you don't enter. Then they will invite you for another marriage. You will show your own ashwebi. You will go and be spraying people. At no point will you call them and say, hey, madam, this boy that you love like this, have you people sat down together and have you looked at your numbers? The reason why you will not tell them is that if you call them and tell them, they will catch you winch. They will say you are the spiritual force that wants to break them. They'll say, oh, it's because you are not married, or oh, it's because you are married, or oh, it's because you have not born, or oh, it's because you have born. And because you don't want to be in that space where anybody will judge your matter. You don't want to be in that space where anybody will talk to you anyhow. You leave people to their devices. And so we have generation upon generation of people who do not do their numbers going into marriage. And the worst part of it all, I'll talk about the church because I am Christian. The church will organize marriage class. They'll be asking you questions around spirituality. They'll ask you questions around fidelity, about piety, around how you have kept yourself, how you have preserved yourself, how you have courted in a godly manner. And this, they ask you everything that is important, except the one that is far more important. Are you both financially compatible? Because if you are not, the same way you check genotype, the same way you check family history, if you do not check your financial compatibility, that marriage is doomed to fail, except the grace of God, or except one party says, I'm going to play the fool, I'm going to be the moron, and I'll absorb all of the nonsense, meaning that one party has chosen to be the victim. That is the only way it survives. If not, you just have a very unhappy couple, unhappy relationship. So I'll look at chapter 4 because Emeka has said it, and I'll just briefly talk about quality of relationship. Marriages and relationships. And by the way, everything we are saying about marriage, before you tie the knot, understand that this person you are going to marry, you are going to be yoked to him or her for life. Whether you divorce or whether the marriage breaks up, it doesn't matter. You are tied to the person for life. You are going to answer either I am Mrs. or ex Mrs. Meaning that even after the marriage has been dissolved, you are still tied to the person. And it is another topic I talked about in the book. So let's look at the quality of relationships. If you get married to a young man, for instance, and you are not able to live in a good neighborhood, you cannot pick your neighbors. You cannot pick the quality of your neighbors. You cannot pick the quality of your neighborhood. So, for instance, if you live in a shanty, it means that your children are going to be exposed to the quality of life in a shanty. If you live in a what's the name of this, in an uncompleted building, your children are going to be exposed to the quality of life in that space. If you live in a nice apartment, your children are going to be exposed to the quality of life of people in a nice apartment. So the quality of your relationships matters, and it is also affected by money. Because if I, for instance, I'll give an example. If I belong to Rotary Club, for instance, where I meet a lot of nice people, or I belong to Toastmasters International, where I meet a lot of nice people, sure, I will pay subscription before I will join Rotary, or I will pay membership dues before I will become a Toastmaster. If I don't have money to pay, where will I meet fellow people who like development? Where will I get that quality of association? And if I don't meet them, or I get married to someone who does not meet them, how do we grow? How do we enjoy the benefits of association? It is because the quality of your relationship, the quality of your neighbors, the quality of your friends. And when I'm talking about quality, I'm talking about wealth. I'm talking about not just money. And let's not kid ourselves. You can say, oh, rich people don't necessarily have to be good, because poor people, the first thing they do is to start defending themselves. Once you see poor man, say, hey, not me. You can be rich and wicked. Please, you can be poor and wicked. Let's not get distracted. But I'm saying that you should be able to choose. You should be able to say, okay, you know what? I love this neighborhood and I want to live in this neighborhood. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to befriend all of my neighbors, but I like this neighborhood. I have the power to choose. And that's what money does in a relationship. Money also affects decision making and control. See, most of the victims of domestic abuse in marriages and in relationships are victims of domination as a result of financial influence. The man who has money will be able to say to the woman who does not, sit down there, keep quiet, shut up, I'm talking, are you talking? Or the woman who has money will be able to say to the man who does not, I'm talking and you're talking. Do I blame you? What are your mates? See your mates are outside working. I went out to work and you're here sitting down talking rubbish. You claim to be man. All of that talk is because you do not have financial empowerment. And the person who controls the purse strings ultimately drives the decisions. The best thing to happen is where both of them are economically strong, economically relevant, and can bring their best foot forward and bring their ideas to the table with mutual respect. But if only one person is bringing money, if only one person has money, if only one person is working, if only one person is generating revenue, with time, and see, let nobody kid you. Let nobody tell you, oh, he loves me, it does not matter. I tell you solemnly, with time, the person who controls the resources determines what happens. Money also affects debt management. As a couple, so for many people, you are fine when you get married. It's just two of you. You can cook a pot of soup. If you buy a loaf of bread, it lasts you a week. You can decide to drink just tea with or without milk. You are fine. It's just two of you. You can live your life. But the minute you start bringing children into that relationship, the pressure begins. And if you notice, for many couples, the marriage begins to become frayed when children get introduced to the equation, because children come with a lot of expenses. Children are expensive to raise, they're even expensive to have. To born Pekin is not free, to born Pekin is not cheap. You have a child from the day the child is born. The mother's diet begins to change. She has to eat more. She has to be able to feed, to give good quality breast milk. Even when they tell you breast milk is the cheapest, sure, you have to eat before you produce it. The clothes she wears will change. She has to buy new clothes for the baby. The baby grows very fast. Bringing a baby is expensive. Then, to make matters worse, the child will start going to school. Then you now get into the business of paying school fees. For a child who spends 22 years in school, for one child, that parent for 22 years will be paying school fees. Add another two children to the equation. So 24 years, 26 years. For 26 years, let's say you get married at 25. That means you will continue to pay school fees till you are 51 years old. You will be putting money aside for school fees simply because you decided to marry and born Pekin. That is powerful money can how powerfully money can affect relationships. So it affects everything. And for you as a couple, if your earnings do not improve, you start running into debt because you need to be able to meet up. And for many people, you'll find out that your debt profile is highest when you are raising children. You begin to borrow to be able to pay fees, you borrow to be able to meet up with the growth of the family, with feeding. You're constantly borrowing and repaying. It tells you that money is a crucial element. Money also affects the number of dependents. So you are the only wealthy person in your family. I pity you because you'll be like a lone tree in the desert. All the birds will perch on you. All the birds will poop on you. All the animals will come to your shade. Everything, the entire burden of the forest, of the desert, will be on you because you are the lone tree in the desert. That's what it feels like when you are the only one with money in your family. It affects the number of dependents you have. So if you earn money, you'll find out that the people who are asking you for money are more. They will not ask a poor relative because they know you cannot give. You can't give pour out of an empty cup, right? So you whose cup is full will be the one with the burden of carrying the load of the dependent. So that's part of what I talked about in chapter 4. Now let's go to chapter 1, or even the introduction where I talked about the entire thing, what drives money and relationships. And I will just say, let me read the first paragraph or paraphrase. I said, in the course of rendering personal finance advice over the years, I have seen the effect money has on people when they make the decision to go into a romantic relationship, not even just marriage. The minute you see somebody, brothers and sisters, the minute you see a young man who was minding his business, let me start with my gender. You saw the man minding his business. He was on his own, but you just saw him and decided to love him. Your cost has started. First of all, you begin to realize that, oh, I don't look as good as I can. Then you become more conscious. You want to have your hair just so, you want to make up, you want to wear nice dresses, you want to change your perfume. Your cost has started just because you saw somebody and fell in love with him. Same thing with the man. Then your billing starts. All of that because you decided to fall in love, and then your money profile, your cost profile increases. The next chapter, in chapter one, I talked about money beliefs, and I think this is the most important thing for every single person because this talks about self evaluation. Do you know yourself? What are your beliefs about money? Whatever you believe about money is what you have been conditioned to believe about money. You react the way you react to money, with money, about money, because of your conditioning. Do you know your money beliefs? Because those money beliefs are the things that drive you. For some people, they believe that money is the root of all evil. There are people on this earth who do not like money. They hate money. They feel money corrupts, money pollutes. If you have that mindset about money, you will not attract wealth. You will constantly repel wealth. Then, if you marry somebody who has a positive money belief, there will be friction in that family. Meanwhile, the problem lies with you. So, you must fix your money beliefs. You must understand how your relationship with money is. Come to the acceptance of it and begin to fix it. Some people fear the prospect of making money. Some people become anxious when they think about money. They wake up in the morning and their heart is beating. Hey, 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 how will I cope? Oh, hey, God, where will I get money from? Hey, God, help me. Father, help me. So when you come across such people, you can sense the tension. They come across as needy, fearful, negative. They're constantly thinking, oh, how do I get money from the next person? They're panicking. It's because of their money beliefs. There are negative money beliefs and positive money beliefs. I went ahead to explain all of this in detail. I also explained how it affects you and how it affects your relationships. Then I gave examples. There are life stories, examples in the book where I shared people's stories. Of course, I use pseudonyms, but I shared real stories, how money affects certain relationships. And I gave the example of Laura and Ekene. You should read it. It's really interesting. And how Ekene was able to, sorry, Laura was able to understand Ekene's driving decisions, and Ekene also was able to understand what the issue was with Laura. So Laura had negative money beliefs, and it deeply affected the quality of their relationship. In chapter two, I went ahead to talk about money personality types, and this is where it becomes very interesting. This is the genotype of your money. Who are you getting married to? And see, I'll talk to women first. You see all those butterflies that jump around in your belly, and you believe when you see this man, you're like, oh, if I don't marry him, daddy, if I don't marry him, I'll die. I don't want to marry anybody again. Oh, oh, I wish I can draw your ear. You will not die. If he is not the right person for you in terms of financial compatibility, I beg you in the name of all that is holy, please leave him alone so that you can have peace down the line. You see that girl that you say, if it's not this girl, I will be single. If it's not this girl, I will die. She's the right person for me. Please, she's not the right person for you. You know that she has issues. She's already showing you now that you are not together, now that you are not legally bound. She's showing you that she will be a nuisance in the marriage. I have a client who wanted to get married to a lady, and the lady said to him, in fact, just by chance, it was accidental because I asked him a question. He had to go back to her to get the response. And he came back and said, I saved his life. What was the question? He went to her and asked her a question around earnings, her personal finance after marriage. And the girl was confused. She said, I don't understand. What do you mean by my plans for marriage, for money when we get married? I don't have any plans. You are my plan. When we marry, it's you that will be, you're the one that is coming to my father's house to carry me to be wife. I don't understand. You expect me to work. Now the boy was confused. He said, I don't understand. You're not planning to. Well, you're working right now. She said, I'm working because I'm not married. The minute I marry you, you have a good job, you're well paid. You will place me on a stipend, you will take care of my needs, you will support my family. That's why I'm marrying. If not, what am I marrying? What's the point of the marriage? Was just a boyfriend and girlfriend. Why am I tying myself to just you if you at the end of the day nothing else? The boy had his brain rewired, and I need not say that the marriage did not happen. But he would have married her and formed. I was shocked in the marriage. You are not shocked anything. You simply did not ask the right question. So you need to know the personality type of the person you have married. There are some people they are very stingy. You know, in the dating, in the friending, he showed you he was stingy. He's not a stingy person. He just has a savers mentality. He just has an avoidance mentality, or he just has a splurger's mentality or an investor's mentality. So he has not changed. It is who he was when you were dating him that he is in marriage. So don't come into the marriage and say, "Oh, I thought he would change the way he was. I didn't know he would carry his bad character inside the marriage." Please don't stress us. You knew. If he was stingy in the relationship, he will be stingy in the marriage. He's not going to change because you are married to him. Same thing with you that you are complaining. What is your personality type? Are you an investor? Are you a saver? Are you a spender? And it's not a problem. Once you identify the kind of personality type you have, what are the steps you have taken to protect yourself against the negative traits of your personality type? So, for instance, if you are an avoider, for example, someone who doesn't want to talk about money, they'd rather just avoid, they don't want to even hear money issues. And that's where a lot of people sit. What steps have you taken to address your avoider tendencies? There are steps you can take, and we talked about them in the book. If you are a spender, for instance, and in the West, for our Owambe brothers, they know how to spend money. Some people will say, and I gave an example in the book. I told a story, which is a real story, but again with pseudonyms, about a spender, someone who says, "I want to tell the world that it's not me, it is me. This is I for marrying you. It is me. The world has to know now. I will spend fire. I will spend with double hand." What are the implications? If you are a saver and you're married to a spender, what should you do? Those are the kinds of conversations we talked about in chapter 1. And I gave examples, and sorry, that's chapter 2 when we talked about personality types. I gave examples and I shared a lot of thoughts. In chapter 3, we talked about the implications of marriage. So for a lot of people, you think marriage is a joke because you see all over the place, you see people saying, "Oh, when you are tired of the marriage, walk away. When you are tired, don't take that nonsense. When there's pressure, don't take any nonsense from any woman. If the woman would not submit, kick her out of your house. If the man does not behave himself, divorce him and move on." You think it's a joke because you see people breaking marriage. It's not a joke. Ask anybody who has gone through the trauma of divorce, the scar, the pain, the legal implications of divorce stay with you way after that marriage has been severed. And here's the worst part. If you are legally tied to somebody, I'll give an example. I'm a woman. I if my marriage to my husband is terminated today, the fact that we are no longer married does not mean that my husband will not be paying money. He will pay me. He will continue to be bound to me in terms of finances. So you can see that even if legally the marriage is over, financially the marriage continues. He will continue to pay for the support of his children. He will continue to take care of me, even if I'm no longer his wife. Can you see the injustice of it? So why do you want to go into a relationship, into a union that you will not take seriously? Why do you want to go into something that has far-reaching consequences? Even if you are no longer friends, even if you are no longer in love, your finances will continue to remain in a union. That is how powerful marriage is. If my husband is not taking care of me, I can sue him. I can take him to court. If my husband does not want to have conjugal knowledge of me, I have a right to take him to court. That is how serious marriage is. It is not a joke. It is not child's play. It is not a romance. It is not a love me, Jaja, love me. Ten. No, it is serious business. The law is involved. And I like to say to people, when you gather people to say, I want to marry this person, it is assumed. If for those who have done court marriage, they will ask you, are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? Do you understand? And you will say, yes, I understand. And they will say, go ahead. What they are asking you is, have you read chapter 3 of this book? Do you understand the implications? And the minute you say yes, you have entered, you have entered. Marriage is a contract, it is legal, it is a solemn promise. The law is on your side. You cannot decide when to and when not to when it comes to marriage. No, that's all what I talked about in chapter 3. We have talked about chapter 4. In chapter 5, I think in chapter 5, I talked about financial factors that destroy marriages and relationships. You need to read this. This is incredible. And it is such a small and simple book, but written with nuggets that touch every aspect of life. And let me chip this in for everyone listening. It's not just about you and your spouse or you and your relationship partner, even your parents, even your siblings, even your children, everybody that you see behaving as if they want to stray into marriage, please call them back to order. Those who have already entered, but you're seeing that they're behaving as if the marriage is doing one kind, please call them back to order. Give them this book. You can save them, you can save their lives, you can save their marriages. Financial factors that destroy marriages and relationships. I looked at several of them: financial stress, unequal financial literacy growth rate, financial infidelity. There are so many. But let me talk about unequal financial literacy growth rate. So here's what typically happens in a marriage: one party grows and the other does not grow. So, for instance, if at the point I got married to my husband, we were both on one bar of financial literacy, or he was on 1.5 bars and I was on one bar, and then the marriage continued. I started developing myself. He remained on 1.5 bars. I got to 2 bars. I got to 3 bars. I got to 4 bars, and he remained on 1.5 bars. It will get to a point where we can no longer communicate, because at this point I'm speaking the language of bonds. I'm speaking language of foreign investments. I'm speaking the language of complex portfolios. I'm speaking the language of endowments, the language of trust funds. I'm speaking the language of comprehensive wills, uh, letters of trust. I'm speaking all of those language. And the poor man is saying, so the ATM card that's in that our account, that's the English he's still speaking. You see that we can no longer communicate. And it affects the marriage because one party has outgrown the other. It is extremely important that you both grow together in a marriage. So we talked about all of those as the factors that destroy relationships. I'll just very quickly go through this so that, Emeka, if we have any questions, I'll take them. Another favorite chapter is chapter 6. I love chapter 6 because it talks about the important costs to consider in marriage and relationship. See, don't deceive yourself. You're not as strong as you think. Once you fall in love, except you've not fallen in love before, once you fall in love, you want to buy the moon for your sugar banana. You want to, in fact, when you want to cook, you want to cook with shaki, more cow tail, cow head. You want to kill him with love. That's in terms of food. Other aspects follow. However, understand that every one of your actions, all of that, oh, I want to visit you. Hello, how are you? Oh, I'm missing you. Can we see tomorrow? Can we see tomorrow means, can you pay transport to my house to come and see me? Can we see tomorrow means I will take a taxi to come and see you, or I will drive with fuel of 250 per liter to come and see you, or I will wear fine clothes, I will launder my clothes, I will spray perfume. Can you see all of the costs? I'll look good because I need to see you. Can we see tomorrow means when I come and see you, instead of me to be seeing you, I will come and stress you and say, oh, let us go to cinema. Oh, let us go to movies. Oh, let us go and eat out. Oh, let us go to the beach. Are you listening to all the things seeing is bringing? All of those are costs. Oh, I'm in love with you means when you come to my house, or when I come to your house, I see your sisters and your brothers, your younger ones. I should be able to say, hey, Anthony, how are you? How was school today? Then Anthony will say, Uncle, Uncle, it's been a long time. Uncle, please, can you buy me data? You say, oh, definitely, because you don't want to forehand. You buy data for Anthony. You buy data for Cynthia. You buy data for Nyero. You buy data for Chuku. All of that data you're sharing left and right for lover boy and lover girl. You're on your own. All of those costs add up. Is it in your budget? You're forming love. All of those are the costs I talked about. I finished work in terms of cost to consider because I even split it. Cost to consider during the courtship, the cost of grooming, cost of buying favors, increased phone bills, cost of engagement ring, all those ones that people like to form like you go to an event venue and you kneel down and you say, will you marry me? Maybe I've already bought ring, expensive ring. Then she puts out her finger, you put a ring on it, and it's like, ah, I said yes. And then you post with data, you are posting with data. All of that I said yes, then they pour flower. It's money. Oh. I hope you know. And the minute she says yes, Ogbeni, your billing starts. I talked about all of those. The cost for the marriage ceremony, the cost after the marriage. Oh my goodness, you need to read this book. Cost after the wedding, when your eye starts to clear, cost of gifts, the different types of gifts, the importance, the impact of gifts, the danger of giving gifts. I talked about all of it. I gave example of Reginald and Patricia. But those if you're on my Facebook page, go and look at that story. I shared it on Instagram and I shared it on Facebook. The story of Reginald and Patricia. It caused a lot of debate. I posted it on WhatsApp as well. Many people came to my inbox. Everybody was for and against. Some people supported Reginald, some supported Patricia. Me, I was in the middle. What is my own? It's a real story. Reginald has moved on. Patricia didn't even know what was going on. Then in chapter 11, I touched on a very important topic, money dates. And money dates is where whether you're married or you're still in a relationship, it affects everyone. So for those who have already entered, we don't marry, we don't marry. What can you do? Money dates are the first thing you must begin to do. What is a money date? Why is money date important? How your money date should be structured, the setting for your money dates, for your money dates, the kinds of conversations you should have and you should avoid during money dates. And then I went ahead to conclude the book. So that's it. The money side of love. I tried to wrap it all up. I'm sorry I spoke really fast at some point, but I'm very conscious of the time. So, Emeka, that's it in a nutshell, the money side of love. Please, I'll wrap up by saying if you belong to a church or any religious group where you see people marrying in numbers, please get this book for them. I had quite a lot of copies in Port Harcourt, but several church leaders have come and they have carried the physical copies. Many of them are buying them as part of marriage. By marriage class is already late because the people have already decided. So they're giving it to young adults, not teenagers, young adults, people who are beginning to fall in love, people that their eyes beginning to turn up and down. They're buying these books for them. So please get it for them, get it for your parents. I had a grandma reading it. She looked at me and said, Tobore, why didn't you write this book when I was young? And I was wondering what she was talking about. The woman senior me was like 50 years. I don't understand how could I have written it, but it's that powerful because she was feeling like, just I know waiting date this book. Maybe I cannot marry that papa where I married. But no one was looking at me rascally and I couldn't apologize. But it's that serious. Okay. Thank you, Rebecca. Thanks everyone for listening.
Well, the woman they apply you. That was oh my god. Okay, well, the questions I'm seeing now, they're asking how much is the book? Do you have ebook for it? You know, that's the question right now. So I think a lot of so guys, you are right here on this live stream. Do one thing for us. As I always say, when you hear the good news, go and spread the good news. Jesus Christ, when he came, go and spread the good news. The good news is meant to be spread. So there's a link, you can see the share button beneath the frame of this video, this live stream you're watching right now. Just tap the share button and share it to your friends. Share it to your timeline. If you're watching us from LinkedIn, reshare it so that people can also partake, not just now, maybe they'll watch later. Okay, so go ahead. The cost of the
Okay.
book, how you can get the physical book or the ebook, and how they can reach across to you to be able to get the books.
So for those who are in diaspora, who can get it via Amazon a lot easier. It's on Amazon. You can pick it up from Amazon. For those who are in Nigeria, you can get the ebook from Seller. But you need to pay 2,500. It's 2,500 on Seller. So if you go and search on Seller, you'll see it. Or if you cannot search, pay 2,500 to my account. The details are at the bottom of the screen right here. Pay 2,500 and send me a message on WhatsApp, and I will send you the Seller link. Then for those who want the physical copies, if you are in Port Harcourt, if you hurry, you might get. I think I have only 10 copies left in Port Harcourt. If you're in Port Harcourt and you hurry up and order the physical copy, you can get it free of charge. In terms of delivery, delivery is free. For those in Lagos, I'm not sure how many copies are left, but you can go ahead and order. The books will be available again in print over for cities where it's no longer available. The hard copies will be available in the first week of January. So between now and the first week of January, you'll get your hard copies anyway. But if you're in Port Harcourt, Abuja, and Lagos, delivery is still free till the end of the year, as long as the copies are available. But for the ebook, please go ahead and pay 2,500 and you'll get it. And please, when you buy this book, read it. When you read it, let others know about it. It's far more important that marriages are saved, relationships are saved, lives are saved by your reading it and ensuring that others read it. Beyond the money, the knowledge, you never can tell whose life. I know because I got all of that feedback. I didn't even know it was such an important book. It's a book almost did not write. So I don't joke with it anymore. This particular book touches so many soft spots. So please go ahead, get a copy, buy for someone you love before you spend all of your money on Christmas doings, end of year grooving. Put 5,000 naira aside, buy two copies for yourself and someone you love. Pay for a hard copy book, put it in your library, let your children. By the way, my daughters have started reading it. Me, I cannot shout. My son will start reading it. I'm just looking at it, he doesn't even know what he's doing. He's pressing phone. The book is waiting here, but my daughter who has been home has read. My daughter who came home early, she has read her own. So everybody's going to read it, even though they are very young. Let them read. They should understand. I'm not joking with it. My entire family, everyone in my family has read it. That's serious. So please get your copy. 2,500 for the ebook, 3,500 for the paperback. Thanks, Emeka.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Somebody is still asking how much is the hard copy. The hard copy is this is it's 3,005. All right, so go get it, and it has to do it with free delivery. For me, she's doing a whole lot to even give you this book at 3,500 and then free delivery. American Nobis will not do something like that. The book will be 3,500, and then you will still pay your delivery fee. So if she's giving it to you at that amount of money and you're not, even if you're in Zamfara, and Medugri, I don't know, it's like somebody's bankrolling her. So she's helping to make a lot of people to be released from the shackles and the bondages that they are in. Okay, ma. My other question is this: who is this book meant for? Who is this book meant for? Who is supposed to read this book? Who is this book strictly targeted for?
My primary audience are those who have not yet got married. Those who are not yet married, they are the best because you can correct all your mistakes. You can go in on a better footing. You go in more aware. So someone who is early 20s. In fact, what am I even saying? Right? Because I've noticed people start falling in love from 15. I'm like, they're okay. So at 15, you're falling in love. Once you notice your heart is doing as if you want to fall in love, please go and get this book. Once you see your neighbor behaving as if your neighbor will soon fall in love, please go and get the book because it means love is in the neighborhood and it will soon catch you. So people who are not yet married are fantastic. But if you are newly married, get the book and start correcting the mistakes you made. My husband has read this book. Just tell you how serious it is. Even I who wrote it, I am still reading the book. I am still doing personal evaluation because it is that serious. But my primary audience are those who have not yet got married. But it is idea. I told you of a grandmother who was reading the book. In fact, she sat down and read through it all. So please, as much as possible, if you before you fall in love, while you are falling in love, during the falling in love, post falling in love, get this book before you get married so that you know what you are going into. And then if you're already in marriage, to protect your marriage, you can get it as well. Thanks, Emeka.
Thank you so, so much. Okay, as we are beginning to wrap up on this session, Ma, what are your aspirations for this book? As we begin to go into 2023, what are your aspirations, your projects? You're selling this book. Are you going to tour nations? Are you going to speak in many churches? What's your aspiration for?
Okay, so I'm even beginning the tour by next week. I'm hoping to be in Akwa Ibom State next week to talk about this book. But it's going to be a closed meet. I've already begun. Churches, like I said, churches have already started picking up many copies. I'm not sure I will do a tour because I think I will just do virtual. But I'm working with key members of churches to pick up. Why I say the churches because they have the strongest power and influence to talk to their young people. I'm talking to thought leaders, like I'm talking to Emeka Nobis now. I'm talking to people of influence to begin to talk to young minds about the book. Maybe, who knows? I just might do a tour if my financial plan allows it. I will do a tour. But I hope that this book gets to at least 2,000 people in Q1 next year. Those are my numbers for Q1 next year.
Such a great session we've had, 58 minutes so far. Thank you everyone who has tuned in. As usual, as I said, go and share, tap the share button beneath your screen and share this live stream right now. Okay, Ma, so what are your final concluding words for this, as we call it, a how do we draw the curtain to a close?
I will start by saying thank you so much. Thanks for your time. I like to thank people for their time, their data, and their attention because those are very rare commodities these days. Thanks for sharing your evening with us. Thanks to those who will watch the replay, and thanks for listening. My final words will be to encourage you to get a copy of this and get one for someone you genuinely love and care about. Buy it as a gift for people in your group. For people who want to buy 20 copies and more, you can get it at 3,000 naira for the hard copy for 20 copies and more, especially if you belong to some form of religious group or you're in charge of young minds. I would give you a discount. I am not doing it really for the money, I'm doing it for the information and the hope that someone out there will be saved from domestic violence, will be saved from making a mistake that will go down generations. That's my hope. That's my prayer that we can begin to fix our nation by this book, one person, one family, one relationship at a time. So please go out, get a copy for yourself, get one. And before you splurge this December, before your December will become too dirty, please get a copy. It's less than the cost of a shawarma. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope that you had a great time on this live stream. I did have a great time on this live stream. I don't know if you did. If you did, let me know in the comment section and say, yeah, 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 I did. If you can type in the comment section and say, yeah, 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 I did. Yeah, 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 I did. Let me see your comment in the comment section before I click end of the session. All right. Let me see your comment. Let me see your comment. Let me see your comment. Did you enjoy? Did you have a great time with us? Did she yarn opata? Did she yarn something that made sense? Or, I mean, did she drop something of great value? So I'm seeing individuals. Okay, Clement says, thank you for this session, Emeka Nobis, right? Jenny K is saying, yeah, 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 right? Gula, I have a great time. I think someone else said something about meeting you. I think I saw that. Let me check. Okay, yeah, Clement said Otobere Obaka Olumoye. This woman has depth in financial matters. Would love to connect with her after this session. Please, by all means, connect with her. Connect with her. All right. But hope that the connection you're doing is not Halo Angle, because if you type Halo Angle in her inbox, I hope you are going to book. No Halo
He
Angle
will.
inside the inbox. It has to be
I'm saying
about books.
Esquire. Esquire
If
means
you
he wants to buy many books for his law firm.
Fantastic. Oh, yes. All those people who have Esquire. They make sense. You are
Have
very
money.
correct. Makes sense. They have money. So he's going to buy plenty of books. Great, great, great. Samuel is saying it was an awesome session. Fantastic. Abayomi, yeah, I did. Treasure. Oh, yes, yes, I did. Thank you, Mr. Nobis by Samuel Ahanono. Clement, highly educative, have a lot to discuss with wifey this season. Fantastic. I like that. Amazing, amazing. What the time, Ebenezer Kachi. Stanley, I got so much value as always. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, King Nobis, for putting this together and for every other video you've been pushing out. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you also, Ajenike. Thanks so much for today's session, ma'am. Thank you. All right, ma'am. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this session.
Thank you, Emeka.
Come 2023, I'm going to be sourcing for more amazing individuals who are going to be giving great value. And it's going to cut across different professions, different areas of human endeavor, health, finances, whichever, making money, different sectors of individuals in the arts, in the music, different individuals doing amazing stuff, coming to interview them live like this and having them share their thoughts with everyone who will tune in so that lives can be better. I look forward to an amazing 2023. I look forward to this book being in the hands of many individuals. Sophia, I can see you. You're saying looking forward to reading the book. Fantastic. Please go ahead, contact her, get the copies of the book, and truly you will have a remarkable time. So from me here to my friend and financial advisor, God bless you, everyone. God bless for tuning in, and good night.
Good night, Emeka. Thanks, everyone.